On this episode of Gas Diesel Garage, need a full interior for my Gbody Lowrider build. A tip from a viewer that down in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, there's a secret stash of antique cars that hasn't been seen in 40 years. And I met the owner. He wasn't happy that I stepped foot on his property and we almost went to jail. Coming up later in this video, we start tearing apart that 1983 Gbody Lowrider build. Most people don't know this, but the Outer Banks has a lot of people that stockpile a lot of old classic cars, and we're gonna find them today. From what I was told also, and able to get these vehicles, we're gonna need a crane, bulldozer, boat, a helicopter, an airplane, SEAL Team 6, but rest assured, we're gonna find that interior. Now there's a property over there around that wooded area. It's got a whole bunch of classic cars, and I'm hoping and praying that they have a full interior for my 1983 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. I'm sure they will, but I think it's closed. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take to the skies and see if they got any Cutlasses. Excuse me, sir.
I don't mind. Not like.
But I'd like to come
You're
walk.
welcome to. I've got probably 30 minutes or better.
I can walk around?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
cool.
Put yourself up there off the road.
I can't believe we got exclusive access to all these gems. Check this out. I think we're gonna build one of these Fieros one of these days. This is the South still. They still have cars that stand the test of time. Check out all these things. Old Rambler. The big body El Camino. Boy, look at that Lincoln. My God. Oh, man, he's got two Lincolns in here. You see that's how he got two? That's the El Camino. Or, I'm sorry, it's not an El Camino. I'm sorry, that is the Ranchero.
It just looks like, flip down.
The Ranchero, yeah. Lincolns. Just as these sit, probably 10, 20 grand. Camaro. Firebird. Dude. My gosh, man.
Yeah, that butterfly.
Jeez. Look at this old lead sled here. That'd be a great lowrider. Bug. What is that, T-Bird? Yep, old T-Bird. Oh gosh. Heck yeah. Or we can make, or I can make it into the Cheech and Chong van. The Cheech and Chong van had one. Heck yeah. Oh, you want to go look at the lift thing? Hey Meta, start recording. Heck yeah. This is my kind of stuff here. El Camino jacked up. Corvair. Actually, actually 3 Corvairs. Check that out. If you guys don't know, that is rear engine El Camino. Look at this thing. Oh, Chevy. Ooh, check that out. man. Look, Mrs. Gas Diesel Garage is already on the search for something. Old Firebirds, Mustangs. More Firebirds, more Mustangs, Camaro. Ooh, what is this? I should buy this so I can make a car hollow out of it. That would be awesome. The old Chevy in the back still. Man.
There's an old one, Chevrolet Traverse. I'm just kidding.
Damn, very cool. Now there is a Cutlass here. It's not outside, he's got it inside. And I promised the owner that I wouldn't put him on camera, and you're probably gonna see him later, but I'm gonna blur his face out because, you know, he doesn't want his face on the internet, which I understand. But let's go see if we can make a deal for some Cutlass interior. And we'll probably be back in the future for some more custom stuff. Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, all right. I'm gonna see you guys back at the shop. Well, guess what? That old man made us a killer deal on a full interior for my Lowrider Cutlass. Man, I'm glad I stopped. So, why don't we take inventory on what exactly I got for my Lowrider Cutlass, because we definitely need to get all that crap out of there, that Ford crap inside. And then, let me show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is about the most ridiculous thing in the world. Somebody decided to take a classic Cutlass and put Ford crap in it. You see it? Look at this. That's Ford seats. That's retarded as hell. I'm sorry, it's not a good word, but that's just ridiculous. Putting Ford Mustang seats in a GM product. How stupid is that? And then not only that, they don't even fit correctly. Let's have a closer look at the savagery that we have going on in my 1983 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. Somebody decided to put Mustang interior in a 1983 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. You can see how ridiculous this is. Look at the seat. The seat is so wide, it actually goes over the threshold here. When you shut the door, I bet you it squeezes the chair. That's just stupid. Then not only that, they drilled holes. Let's see. See, look right here. They drilled holes in the floor pan just to be able to mount these stupid things. So we're gonna get rid of that. And it's got a stupid Ford console. Check that out. See what that says? That says Ford Sync. That's retarded. It's stupid. We have to get rid of it. I mean, and look, somehow they were able to fit a Ford Mustang back seat, but they obviously didn't fit this one though. Oh wait, or maybe these are just covers. They're probably just seat covers. But anyways, still, got to get rid of that Ford stuff and put in some original Cutlass stuff. The reason for me building a Lowrider is not to impress you. I'm building it because this is one of my all-time favorite vehicles ever in the history of the world. I love my 1983 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supremes, especially when they're Lowriders. Like I said before, I actually had a 1983 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme when I was stationed in Texas. And unfortunately, I had to sell it because obviously I had 2 little kids, and low riding is expensive, don't get me wrong. And now it's time I build another one. And also too, I'm tired of sitting on the sideline watching all my homies ride, and I don't have a ride. So let's go ahead and get to it. Now, any little project that I do, especially a lowrider, I'm taking the whole thing apart. I'm taking the engine apart, I'm taking the body off the frame, because to be able to reinforce the frame, it's a lot easier with the body off. So I'm going to take the body off. I'm going to take that interior off or out because I want to check out to see if it's got any rust in the floorboards. Well, cool thing is on the outside I didn't see any rust on the bottom, so that's probably going to be a good thing that I don't have to deal with no body rust, especially when this thing came from up north. Bought it in Philadelphia, it was in New Jersey, and I'm so surprised that this thing does not have any rust on it. I thought that was pretty damn amazing, actually. You can look at the arches right here. There's no rust there. Yeah, it's got some imperfections. Yep, like right there. Might have to repaint that. But of course, I love my the community paint on it. Top, check that top out. That thing is flawless. Now it comes time in the video where we take one last look at my Gbody Lowrider here, all together and assembled, because we're about to tear this thing completely apart. We're gonna have to get some stuff repainted. As you can see here, all these paint chips got on the bumper as well. Now I can say without a doubt, the easiest way to work on a Gbody is to just take the whole front clip off. And yes, that entails me taking off the bumper, the grill, the lights, the upper core support, the wiring harness, and the fenders. Once you got all the bolts out, it's as easy as just lifting it up and putting it out of the way. Now, next thing I need to do is the whole wiring harness comes from the bulkhead on the driver's side and runs through the left side fender and then runs all the way through the core support. So I need to fish all this stuff out and just lay it aside. Then I need to take the bolts out of the lower core support, and then I'm able to lift that out as well. Now, since I have all the bolts out, I'm able to pull the core support out, and I'm going to leave the radiator in because I want to show you guys something. You see this radiator? It's seen better days. I don't know exactly where these two big ass dents came in here, but it's okay. We're getting rid of this radiator anyways because we're putting in a nice shiny chrome performance radiator in it. Alright, there we go. We just rip this thing out, set that damn thing to the side. Next, it's time to take the hood off. And word of advice, get a partner to help you because I did something really stupid and I took the bolts out and there you go, it just fell down. But luckily it didn't damage anything too bad, so we set that aside. Next, I'm working on the passenger side fender, getting all the bolts out and cleaning all this debris out of there that's probably been sitting in there since the 80s. There we go. Now the driver's side. Taking the left driver's side fender off. Alright, now look at this. We got all the room in the world to start working on taking this engine out. Now that we got all this room, we can start working on taking the lower control arms and the springs and the rotors and all that good stuff out. Now this is what I do so the spring doesn't shoot out on you. Loosen the shock nut up ever so slightly, leaving a couple threads on. Then we're going to take the lower ball joint nut off. Once we take the lower ball joint off, it's going to pop down just a little bit with a little bit of help. There we go. Alright, boom, there we go. It popped out just ever so slightly. And it didn't shoot out because that nut is holding the shock in. If you leave the shock in, the spring is not going to shoot out on you. Now we can go on the bottom and take the two nuts that hold the shock on. We can slide the shock out. Here we go. The shock out. Okay, sliding it right on out. Here we go. Slide it on out. Now, I'm going to take my pry bar and try to fish this thing out. And it's not going to shoot out on you, I promise you that. But just be a little bit careful. It won't shoot out on you. Here we go. And once I get this spring out, we can go ahead and just throw those in the scrap pile because these stock springs are completely useless when you're building the baddest Gbody lowrider of all time like we are right now. Now that the springs are out of the way, I need to get both sides, upper and lower control arms out because I need to reinforce those so I can accept the 3-ton springs that I'm be putting in this so we can start bouncing this thing to the sky. Now, since the body is coming off of the frame, I don't need to have the calipers and rotors and all that good stuff zip tied to the body. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove them. because I don't want to break into the brake hydraulics just yet. So I just need to take them off and just leave them aside. And speaking of brake hydraulics, we need to remove this master cylinder from the booster because that's going to go with the frame. And it's easy. I just got to take these two little bolts out of the booster and just set this thing aside. Just lay it over. Some people can zip tie it, but I just lay it over. It's fine. There we go. We're at it. We need to take the vacuum hose off of the booster and leave that with the engine. Now we need to get to all this wiring harness that is on the passenger side. Here's a tip for you on Gbodies. The wiring harness to the engine, that goes through the bulkhead on the passenger side. So just disconnect everything from the engine and just set it aside. What I'd like to do is bunch it all up and put it under the wiper blade so it's out of my way. There we go, just like that. Next, we're going to switch to the driver's side because we have some cables we got to deal with, like the throttle cable seen right here. Next, we got to take out this bulkhead here. There's a 10 millimeter and it just unplugs. That's easy. All right, disconnecting the throttle body and the throttle cable off the engine, off that carburetor, because we're not using this carburetor. It's going to be fuel injected. Anyways, now we're going to slide down here and get rid of this parking brake cable. But let's go ahead and just take this 10 millimeter out of the bulkhead and slide that on out. And we're going to take the plugs off of the windshield wiper motor because they share that same harness. There we go, unplug it, and we're just going to lay it over the engine because that's not important right now. Slide it over on the engine because it's going to go with the frame. Next, we're going to cut off this parking brake cable because most lowriders do not use a parking brake cable. It just hinders us from locking up the rear end, and it makes no sense to have it, so we're just going to cut it off and slide that up out of the way. And let's disconnect that speed sensor cable that runs all the way on the back side of your transmission on the tail shaft. We just unscrew it and pull it on out, this primitive stuff. Just slide that out, fish it out, because that's going to go with the body because it runs up into your cab, obviously. Next, we're going to do the shift cable. Transmission shift cable, we just got to unplug that. Take the jam nuts out, slide that up out of the way. Next, the steering column. We got to take this one measly little bolt out, and then we're going to tap it down a little bit, and it will come off like butter, just like that. Boom, it's off. Now that the front clip is taken apart, we got to turn our attention to the rear because there's a lot of rear stuff that we got to take out. We got to remove the side markers, the tail lights, and the bumper. But this is going to have to be on the next episode of Gas Diesel Garage. And I hope you tune in because we're getting one step closer to taking the body off of this frame. Because like I said, we're going to reinforce this frame because it's getting hydraulics. So if you don't want to miss a thing on this epic lowrider build, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell for the post notifications so you don't miss a thing. See you next time.